Welcome to the In Story Show Facebook Live interview series. I've been having a lot of fun interviewing the speakers on the show live. And so today I'm going to invite on Isabel Hunt. And as you know, it takes just a little bit of time just for me to get them invited and get them on, and that is a really cool thing. Hi, Kay. But it's a very cool part of the whole In Story Show message, which is like being brave enough to jump onto Facebook Live, to figure out the tech, to see what's up. So I see Kay, and Kay, you're on. So when it's your interview, you're all ready to go. It says bring you on camera. I can do that, and so now I'm waiting to see Isabel posted here. And Isabel Hunt is coming on. She's an amazing inspiration. You will all adore her. If you haven't seen her whole interview yet, go to instoryshow.com and you can see our whole interview there. Okay, hi Isabel. Okay, I see you. So now I'm going to click bring her on camera, add, and then request to add her, and then it takes Facebook a little time to put it all together in the background, and there she is.
Is that
Hi,
working?
Isabel.
Hold on.
Yay!
I feel like my picture looks weird.
I'm actually resolving my tech issues. I think this is the first one where we've had nothing go wrong.
Do I look kind of
So
weird, like kind of white? I feel like I look weird.
well, I feel like my head
Oops,
looks
sorry.
huge. So what can I tell you? It's when you get squished into the half screen, it's this sort of odd.
Yeah, it's a weird ankle. Usually I only see myself from here up. So as you can
I
tell,
know, and
it was short notice, so I'm pretty much just hair up and shirt on. So
it's okay. I got my necklace on. That shows I'm good to go, right?
there you go. I didn't even
My
do
my
that.
husband my husband makes me these cool necklaces. So I said, dear, you've saved me so much trouble. I put on my necklace and I'm all dressed, right?
Nice, your husband. I love that.
I know, isn't that cool? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's so funny because I did one, like, I don't know, some deep teaching, and someone's whole comment was, oh, I love your necklace.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty.
So,
It's funny what a necklace can do to your appearance. So,
oh, it's
yeah.
so I used to do it with scarves, but okay. So
Yep.
this is part of the whole point of all of these spontaneous Facebook Live interviews is you get to show up kind of as you are, and not waiting for this whole perfection thing to jump in. Hi, Susie. Like, we just don't have to wait for that.
Right. Well, that's
So,
definitely not perfect.
me either. And I'm always like trying to be look what I do, and it isn't working, but I'm going to try it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yes.
So Isabel, just give a little intro to the work you do in the world for people who maybe haven't seen your interview yet, and then we'll dive into one little area that is exciting to us.
Yes.
Heather,
Like I said, I'm slightly not prepared. I'm actually in my
that's the
head,
whole
I'm
point.
in my head,
That's
I'm
the
in
whole point.
totally different conversations right now. So I'm trying to get centered and put myself back in here. Okay, so
Okay,
for
how about we
those,
do that for everybody? How about
oh
we do that
yes.
for everyone?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Like, okay, so everybody, let's get centered. So Isabel, lead us in a little centering moment. It'll help you, and we all need it.
All
Okay,
right. So what I pretty much just
let's do
do is I feel like my energy is all over the place. So I just close my eyes and just take a deep breath and literally pull my energy field into myself. I don't know if that makes sense, but I pull it close to
it.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel scattered.
Isabel, while you're doing that, I'll share an interesting thing with you and everyone else as you're sort of pulling your energy in, because I had such an interesting experience that I think will be relevant to
Hmm.
our audience. I woke up with a headache this morning, and I get chronic migraines of varying degrees, sometimes mild, occasionally really bad. And
Yeah.
this morning, I I used that as an opportunity to have a conversation. I said, okay, headache, I'm going to have a conversation with you. And I realized like, we have a choice about what we say to ourselves about our pain
Yeah.
or whatever else it is. And the reason I brought it up is because the big message was that when you feel me, this pain, I want you to take a breath, recenter, get connected, and put your focus on your spiritual connection,
Mm-hmm.
not on the distractions that pull us all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and eventually, ideally, I'll get good enough at that that I won't need a headache to remind me.
I like that.
But I think that that thing about pulling, like being able to be more at choice about where what we're experiencing, where we're placing our attention is a part of our work.
Yeah.
Um, Especially as highly sensitive people, as empaths, like it's just easy, like you said, to feel pulled in so many directions. So I think that's a thing for all of us that like, how do I go, and I'm always teaching this thing of pause, notice, and shift or choose. And so I think it's so significant. And that's why I'm always like, let's just bring people into the moment of our reality and share it with them.
Yes.
Hi, Jen. So, so Isabel, talk a little bit about how you do that for yourself, and then share a little bit about what's capturing your attention, in the area of what you have something to say about.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, for those who don't know me, as you already mentioned, my name is Isabel Hunt. I am originally from Germany, and I moved to the US over 10 years ago, so I have been here for quite a while, enjoying life with my husband and my son. And I'm also known as the leader's heart decoder. What that pretty much means is that I see everything in color, that I see, it's not aura or anything, it's literally just the emotional state that something or someone is finding themselves in that I see in color, which is quite an advantage, to be honest. But I'm also the founder of I See You movement, where I focus on shattering cultural barriers and engaging in cultural transformation through the knowledge that I have gained in my work with empath-warriors, with highly sensitive people, because we've talked about it in the interview of the series, how people who have those sensitivities, who are so receptive to their outside world, have a much bigger mission field than what most of us are actually aware of. So I work with empath warriors. I coined that term 4 years ago or something. I can't even remember. Time flies. Where I work mostly with people that are both, that are introvert and extrovert, but are trying to figure out how to work both sides of it, how to
Mm.
be the most effective experiencing the world the way they do, and discovering those very significant, almost like supernatural gifts of healing of any kind. It can look so many different ways, but I help them to figure that out and then go from there to understand the mission that they're on, that their soul is on, so that they can have the
Mhm.
biggest impact in the world. So that's pretty much what I
Oh,
do.
music to my ears.
Yes.
I just am so, it just makes me so happy and excited to hear everything you just said, because we're so in a time that we are being called to bring our gifts out in the world and to help each other do that.
Yes.
Um, so, so say a little bit more about what you've been seeing lately, thinking about lately, like kind of what's current for you.
Oh, what's current is actually good. Um, for some reason, I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to talk about today. I'm just gonna go with it. Like with every interview, I pray over it. I just ask the divine to speak through me. And interestingly enough, right before we came on, I watched this interview about just a short snippet of it. I forgot her name, but she's talking about how the big guys, the big companies in um, like behind Facebook and Google are actually having us be responsible for the break of, or the crashing of democracy, and that we actually should all just leave social media behind so that we can find to each other again. And all I was thinking was, okay, well, honestly, I don't think we have to leave that behind. I think there are much more internal things that we can do so that we can use platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, any kind of social media platform for a greater good. And that leads all the way back to emotional awareness, right? If
Mhm.
we are completely aware of our own stories, um, our thoughts, our belief system, the stigmas that we buy into, that we imprint on others, if we're completely aware of that, the chance for us to being manipulated into some kind of system is way, way lower
Mhm.
than if we are
Mhm.
not aware of that, because then we go on Facebook and we scroll through and we get all fuzzy and just like, oh, I can't breathe, this is overwhelming, and they're saying this and they're saying that, and I'm supposed to do this, and now here are the lies. When you are that aware, and I think that's where especially empaths come in to really help that, because even when we look at an article, we can feel the energy of this article. Is it actually really the truth? Can we take a step back, and even if we don't like the person that the article is about or the situation, can we distinguish by just feeling into it if it is the truth or if it's just make up to um, have people buy into the fear factor that we see as a society happening. A lot of it is really driven by fear. If you don't do this, you will end up here. If you don't follow this person, you will die. No, I'm kidding, but it is sometimes really that significant, really. So really interesting, and I think that's where my work is becoming so significant as well. And I know I'm not the only person who does that, because we need probably many, many, many more people who are focusing on that topic so that we can reach everyone. But like I said, if we really do the inward work, if we are aware of what's going on inside of us, how we respond to different cultures, how we respond to people who are different than us, even when it comes to religion, when it comes to anything faith-based, because faith is not necessarily just religion. But when we're really open to understanding that we are actually one, and what we see even on social media, even if we see different physical faces, it's just a reflection, something to reflect on for ourselves. And when we operate within that mindset, social media becomes something totally different. It's no longer just to spread messages, to spread lies, or even just creating movements. It becomes a tool for reflection. What am I constantly responding to? What am I
Mhm.
constantly reacting to? Am I seeing the same articles over and over, the same quotes over and over? Why? And it's just really what you focus on, you attract more of. And the more you become aware, the less you are driven by social media, the less you're being manipulated into believing something that in the end is actually not true. It's just made up to lead the society in a specific direction that authoritarian power is wants us to, because all that is about is control. I think
Right.
today, nowadays, even social media platforms, any kind of platforms, are very often used as a control tool. They brainwash you into seeing certain advertisements. They brainwash you with Facebook ads, for example, or ads anywhere really. They have you almost trapped into the, this is where we want you to go, and this is what you want what we want you to believe. So we use psychological manipulation to make you believe that reality, because we all create our own reality, right? But when we have this deep awareness, like I'm telling you, there is not many situations where people can lie to me and I actually don't know it.
And oh, we have a little freeze problem. Hopefully it'll
Oh,
come
I'm
back.
sorry. I never get phone
That's okay.
calls. I never get phone calls, but I did get a phone call today. That
I
was a
just want to
spam.
jump in and say one. I just want to jump in and say one quick thing, which is that I think we've had that condition forever with advertising and everything. It's
Yeah.
maybe a little more sophisticated now with social media, but no matter what, if you are going to become visionary or grow and
Hmm.
lead in any way, that I think we have to develop what Isabel's talking about, which is that ability to choose, to like to pause and question, to pause and notice, what do
Yeah.
I feel? Um, and I think that's a big work that empaths and highly sensitive people are becoming more conscious
Yes.
of our abilities, and we had to shut down that ability to choose because we got so much flack when we were young for showing our empathic and sensitive skills and all that. And so I feel like we're in this time where we're getting back the ability to lead from our sensitivities. Like,
Right.
I think it's why that such a great name, Empathic Warriors. Is that what you called it? That,
Empath-Warriors, yeah.
right? Like that. Yeah. So that idea of our these sensitivities becoming our strength is so powerful and key, I think, to what you're saying.
Yes.
In all areas. Like, first we got to go back and deal with it, how we didn't do that in our families in a lot of ways,
True.
and now come back and see, oh my gosh, I'm so in reactive as opposed to creative. So that, I think it's so powerful what's happening now, and our ability to become more conscious and have more choice and notice. Like, you have to even notice when you're not choosing. Like, it's hard to notice till something happens.
Yeah, I'm at this point where I always say to people, it's hard for me to sabotage myself, and if I do, I choose to. Like I literally have this schizophrenic, I'm sorry, conversation with myself. I'm like, well, nice job, Isabel. I'm like, I know, but right now it just works for me. I get it. I'll clean it up later. That's fine. But right now I just choose to have me sabotage because I don't want to do it. It's just being a way of being honest with
Hmm.
yourself, and you don't beat yourself up over it as much as you were not aware of it. I just did that again. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think I know a lot of people choose to just rather disappear from social media or get rid of Facebook, but I think we need to see the chances here. As much as those companies may have a different drive or a different intention behind it, we choose how we want to use it. Like for me, I'm an open book. There's not much that is not out there that I have not shared yet. Um, I'm not telling you when I go to the bathroom, that's not necessary, but you know what I mean, right? Um, it's it's out there. There's a book. I have hundreds of interviews where I talk about my story. So there's nothing really that is secret that I need to try to hide. So there's nothing that I'm worried about that they could find out or anyone could find out that they could use against me. I mean, in the end, even if you have something good out there, people can try to use it against you because they can just turn the whole story around about you, right? So it's how I want to react and respond to it. And I honestly, because I focus on that, I'm also very picky when it comes to people that I let into my closer circle of friends, especially also on Facebook. So I don't see all the negativity on my Facebook. It's just not what I necessarily attract. Actually, people
Right.
who are really vicious in trying to find people to tear down, they don't resonate with me. They're actually afraid most of the time of me because I just call them out in a more loving, sometimes slightly sarcastic way. So it's not something that I attract, and I think that's what we have to become aware of. What are you attracting in the first place? What people are you attracting? What are they trying to reflect back to you? If they weren't just vicious people, like if we weren't just see them as separate people, entities, other beings, but more so as part of who we are, then what are they reflecting back to us? What is it that we focus on that we need to let go of, And we find that out through how we express certain emotions. Like, do I feel angry about this person? Why do they always make me angry? Why is this person always somehow making me sad? So what's going on with that? Even though the other person doesn't have the power to make you feel a certain way, that's why it's important to reflect that back to you. And because empaths feel so much and feel from a lot of people, I don't quite have that problem anymore unless I'm really unconscious and I don't pay attention and I'm just stuck in busyness, then this can happen. But in general, I'm very aware. It's almost like my body has already an alert system out where it's like, hey, not your stuff. We don't let it pass. Oh yeah, you need something to reflect on that. We're letting that pass because you need to learn something, right? So it's all a level of awareness, and the more we are aware, the less we're able to be manipulated into believing
Right.
anything. Like I said, because there is this collective energy, the collective consciousness that we all can tap into, highly sensitive or not. And when we can do that, we just feel like, oh yeah, that doesn't feel right. I'm not really believing this, or this is just not my stand, and I can be okay with you having a different opinion on that. We don't take things as personally. We can step
Mm-hmm.
away. Like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
someone posted something in a group about environment. They had a survey going. I really wanted to fill out the survey because I wanted to support them. But the survey was very confusing. I even read it to my husband, who has a very analytical mindset, and I was like, "Does that make any sense to you? Like, I don't even get the question." He's like, "No, that doesn't make sense." And then there were some other things where I couldn't move through it, and it just wouldn't let me finish. So I posted on her post, and I said, "Hey, I think there need to be some improvements going for the survey because, for one, it's a lot of repetitive things that don't quite make sense, but also I can't move forward because the description says something different than what the answers show, and it won't let me continue." She got so mad at me. How dare I be so negative? And I could send her a private message. I'm like, I didn't even know you were the person who created that. You just said, please help fill out this survey. It was something general, right? Oh, it didn't stop there. Within seconds, I got this long of an email from her, how I dare to be an inspirational speaker since I only take people down. And it just went on and on and on. I'm like, hey, cool, awesome. I didn't feel a reaction to it internally.
Right.
I've for a second there, I felt the need to defend myself. And I'm like, no, I think she really put a lot of work into it, and she feels really angry, maybe because it doesn't go the way she thought it would. Maybe there are other things in her life that are just really making her
Right.
upset. She wrote that she had to give up everything in her life. She sold her house. I'm like, how is that my problem? I'm sorry, but you chose that. But she blocked me, so I couldn't even respond to that email, which was fine. But just for her to block me right away after sending that email showed me there's more to it. No, I could have taken
Right.
that any way different. I could have been totally angry. I could have cried over this, and how dare she? Or we could have lacked confidence with that, right? Any way I could have chosen to respond to that, but all I could feel was her anger, her upset, her her disappointment. I didn't mean it in a
Right.
negative or bad way. I was like, hey, I really wanted to fill this
Right.
out, but it's really not going anywhere. I think it needs a little bit of work. Um, and so I could just let it go. But that is also social
Right.
media, someone I don't even know. But because I have this high level of awareness, because I've done this work for 10 plus years,
Right.
I just can observe it and say, sorry, it has nothing to do with me.
Right. And
I
I
don't
think that
feel
that's so
triggered.
much our modeling for others because we see that shutdown reaction, and many of us
Mm.
in a weird way had to do this shutdown thing to survive our childhoods, and now we've done all this work, like you
Oh,
said, to not go into shutdown. And it's such an important noticing. And I know what happens is, I'm sure what you did was send her a lot of love and blessings and good energy so she could be healed, because
Right.
in the end, there's nothing else you can do. When somebody, and we're seeing this all over the place, that people, instead of having dialogue when they disagree, they shut down. And you can't fix the other person. I mean, this is like one of the great challenges, I think, for a lot of us. Like, we just want to fix that person so that she can be open and have good in her
Right.
life. And so, in the end, we can send them a lot of love and energy. And at the same time, I think what you're talking about is also not having our energy get pulled in. Like,
Yeah.
how do you pull your energy back so that you're not invaded by that energy, that fear, shutdown energy? And at the same time, bless her, so to speak, like fill her with this good energy.
Yes.
And and may she be happy and well. Like, you can't, you weren't given an opportunity to do any more good for her,
And
right?
it
Because
may
she
have not
couldn't
been my
receive.
task anyways. I think something for
Right.
empath and especially it even if you're not an empath but you're a mother, you know that when your child screams and cries or is hurt or is in pain, you run to them. You want them to feel better. You wish you could take it on for them so that they feel better, right? And one night when Jonah was still much younger, I said to him, I'm like, why is he always just crying for me? Why can't you just comfort him? And he's like, because he knows that you will take that away from him. But let me tell you, you cannot continue doing that because you're taking away the experiences that he needs to
Mhm.
have to move forward on his soul's journey because his soul does not have an H. His soul needs to experience certain things, needs to go through
Mhm.
certain things to grow on that level. And especially for empaths who always feel like we have to fix, we have to understand, we have to help,
Mhm.
it is not our task. Our only task is to model, is to reflect, is
Mhm.
to become what is possible, to be the path forger
Mhm.
of love, to be the path
Mhm.
forger of what it means to show compassion to others no matter what they do, the path forger to show forgiveness, right? That I think is the main reason why there
Mhm.
are certain people who feel more and more intensely because we have to learn those lessons a little faster. In this way, we
Mhm.
are forced to, so we can teach generations to come
Right.
and not just right before our deathbed. And like, oh, now I have it figured out. Well, sorry, now it's a little late. So I think that's where we come in. I'm like, hey, this is what is really possible. We have been hurt too. We have encountered people that were really mean to us or really hurt us or even abused us, some of us, you know. But we were only able to heal from that through forgiveness, through compassion, to understanding
Yeah.
why this was happening in the first place, like really on a soul level, on that soul heart connection level. And
Yeah.
when we think in that terms, we tend to not
Mhm.
try to fix things, but instead we're able to just be with people. And it's fun to talk about
Right.
that today because I have an event tomorrow called Humans First where I speak at, and I just finished my talk for this one, so it's all coming like, yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it
Yay.
tomorrow. So,
That's that's so important, because that whole thing of I
mhm,
need to fix myself or fix others is a really old way that a lot of us, I think, were sort of pulled into. It was the best we could figure out, and now what you're describing is just so much more whole,
yes,
that beingness in the present. So, Isabel, thank you so much for jumping on at the last minute. I'm having so much fun doing these Facebook Lives with the speakers. We prepared for our interviews, and
right,
everybody listening, if you
yeah,
want to hear Isabel's full interview, which is super cool, and see what her free gift is and all that, go to instoryshow.com, and there's a whole replay page with everything, no matter when you're seeing this video. And join us. It's so uplifting and empowering to be amongst a group of highly sensitive, empathic, visionary women who have each other's back, so to speak. And
I
the
fully
world's
agree.
calling us forward to this. So it's super cool. So look for Isabel, share the video, reach out to her, connect with her, and you know where to find us both. So, Isabel, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, you all saw me in a messy bun and a shirt, so that's all good.
Love it.
It's how I show up today. I have my workout
You
pants
look
on.
super cool. It's your coolness
There
thing.
you
Come on.
go. There we go. That's exactly it. Totally what I wanted to convey today.
Exactly. And that's how we want you all to be. It's in your coolness. Just yesterday when I spoke with um Veronica Cresto, she was talking about being ordinary, like sort of the
Mm,
wondrousness of ordinariness. And I was like, oh, that's a whole other way of thinking about
yeah,
it.
I
So,
like that.
you know, as much as we're sort of amazing and wondrous, it's like we also just get to be our ordinary selves, which in itself is super cool. So
Yes,
there you go.
I love it. Perfect ending.
And bye, everybody. And what I always say in farewell to all of you is to remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everyone.
Bye.